Hello folks, Tyler Watts here. Welcome to the tutorial for my course assessment wizard. This is an Excel spreadsheet that I've developed, and the purpose of it is to kind of streamline and systematize the course assessment process. So we collect and compile the assessment data from each course in the College of Business for the purpose of uploading that data into Improve. So we have a nice consistent database of assessment results with which we can work through the assessment process. So when you open the spreadsheet, the course assessment wizard, you get a little message here telling you what you need to get started, and that is to export course grades from Canvas into Excel. The main thing to be aware of is that we need the Canvas grades in Excel and formatted as decimal or percent. So I'll start by walking you through that process if you don't know already. So I'm in Canvas Gradebook. I'm going to go ahead and do this for my recently completed spring 2021 Econ 201 courses. I have 3 courses combined here, so you'll see a lot of students here and a lot of assignments, and this is a complete gradebook. So I've checked this, everything's good. I've actually entered the grades already, so I'm ready to go to the assessment data collection. So I'm going to go to this actions option here and click export. It's going to create a CSV file, which I should be able to open directly into Excel once it downloads. Okay, that took about 30 seconds or so, but you can see now at the bottom of my screen I've got my download. If it doesn't show up there, you can go to your File Explorer and look in your Downloads section here. So I'll go ahead and open that. We have to do a little formatting here to make sure these results are good to go for the assessment wizard. So I'm going to find my assessments, Homework 3, Homework 5, Midterm 1, Midterm 2. I'm going to, you can do a few different things to make these a little more visible. You can highlight them, you can make them bold. I just want to tag those so it's easy for me to find in this sea of results that Canvas spits out for me. Now, notice that my points on the Homework 3 was 50, and these are reported as scores. Even if you have it set up as percent in Canvas, it's going to export it as raw scores. I need it as percent to go into the wizard. So what I have to do, I'm going to insert a blank column next to each one of these assignments, and we're just going to do a simple transformation of that result in Excel from raw score to percent. So the way to do that will be to take the result. Actually, we want to scroll all the way up here so we can fill this down. So let's make sure we're back at the top. Okay, so I'm at my first student here, row 3. And what we want to do is take that student's result divided by the points possible. That points possible is going to be the same points possible every time we do this. I think I have 130 students in here. So we want to lock the reference for the points possible. So I'm going to put a $sign in front of both components of the reference, the row and column component, $X, $2. I hit F4, a shortcut key. If my cursor's anywhere on that cell reference and I hit F4, that automatically locks it in. And then I press enter, and that shows me a 1. That student got 100%. If I want, I can format that as percent or just as a number. It doesn't really matter, decimal or percent. Let's go ahead with percent actually. And then because we have that second reference locked, we should be able to just find the fill handle, the little black crosshairs on the bottom right corner here on this little green dot. Double click it, and that's going to convert all of these scores to percents for us. And while I have it all highlighted, I'll go ahead and make it bold so it stands out a little bit easier for me. Okay, do the same thing with Homework 5. Take the student's score, divide it by the possible, lock in a reference for that, enter, fill it all the way down, make it bold so I can find it, format it as percent. Once again for Midterm 1, take the student's score, divide it by the points possible, lock the points possible cell reference, fill it, bold, percent. And finally for Midterm 2, student's result divided by possible, lock it, fill it, bold, percent. Okay, so these are all now ready to go into the assessment wizard. Okay, so I've got my Canvas grade export all set up, ready to go. And I've also gone ahead and tagged the assignments or the assessments that are going to align with the particular SLOs for the course I'm dealing with here, which is Econ 201, and converted the grades as I just went over. So these are ready to go into the assessment wizard. So let's jump into the assessment wizard now, and you'll see the instruction here basically tells you to make sure you've done that Canvas export and it's all ready to go. Sometimes you might get an enable content option up here. Click that if you get it. And then what we want to do is work within the assessment wizard to indicate all the information about the course and copy and paste the results over here. And this is going to do all the compiling for the assessment criteria and kind of spit out some results, which we can then handily just copy and paste right into Improve very systematically. First step is to come up here. Step 1, you'll notice the progress tracker here. These will all say not ready or incomplete until we complete each phase of the assessment wizard, and then those will turn green and say ready or done. So the first step, prepare and export scores from Canvas, that's what we've done outside of the wizard, so we just want to tag that as ready. And then it's going to give us a pretty step-by-step and sequenced instructions, and you'll notice a lot of graphics in here that kind of walk you through this, so hopefully it makes it very easy. So first step, to enter the course data in these kind of pink colored boxes here, semester. And again, you can type or use the drop down. If you type, just make sure you type it correctly because it is validated and won't let you misspell things. So this is spring 2021, what I actually brought out of Canvas for Econ 201. Now this I recommend typing because I have more than 500 options here for all the College of Business courses, so you're probably going to be better off typing here. I'll type in Econ 201. Notice when I typed Econ 201, it pulled up the SLOs for me. So if you didn't have the SLOs beforehand, you can just go ahead and go this far through the process and you'll get the SLOs, and then you might need to at that point kind of tag or match the assignments or assessments from your Canvas grade export, so you can have scores to enter for assessments that match up with the SLOs in question. Okay, and then finally sections. I had 3 here, sections 1, 2, 3. Okay, so that's all set. Now notice another instruction box. It says next step, enter number of students in C5. I go back to my Canvas export data and it indicates that there are 143 students there. I'm going to click here for the student count box, that's C5, and type that in, 143. Okay, so now I've got a student count, and what that will do is populate student 1 through however many down here, because we don't want student names in this because this will potentially get shared. We want to keep student privacy. Okay, and then the next step, enter assessment name, category for Improve. And there's a lot of categories to choose from. Now, that might be the most challenging thing if you're not familiar with Improve. And then the scoring method for each SLOs. So I'm looking back at my grade export, the Canvas grade export here. And remember, I tagged or highlighted the 4 assessments here that are going to correspond with my particular SLOs, not necessarily in order, but I've got homework 3, homework 5, midterm 1, and midterm 2. Okay, so my assessment method for outcome 1, for me that's the supply and demand model. That's going to be my homework 3. You can be as descriptive as you want here. For me that's a homework 3 Excel supply and demand problem. Outcome 2 for me is a consumer choice theory. I do have some questions about that on midterm 1, so I'm going to type in midterm 1 exam. Outcome 3 for me here is types of firm costs. I do a kind of a comprehensive thing about that with my homework 5, which for me, not surprisingly, also Excel, called the Excel Profit Max. And then for me, outcome 4 is applying the principle of profit maximization. That's actually homework 5. Let me move that over here. And for me, outcome 3, firm costs. We're going to put that in midterm 2 exam. There's actually quite a bit of overlap for me between those 2 assignments, so I could probably have switched those back and forth. But nonetheless, just decide what the most appropriate assessment to align with each SLO is for you and your class. Okay, and then assessment method category. This is needed for Improve. When you or whoever the responsible person reports things to Improve, we need to tag the category. So there's a lot to choose from here, and you have to use the drop down to find it. Homework assignments are problem-based assignments, and exams for me here are tests internally developed. So you just have to scroll through here and find what the right thing is. Most of the time it's going to be tests, but there's a lot of other options for all possible kinds of assessments you might offer in your class. Okay, and then finally the scoring method. There are 3 possibilities here: percent, exceeds, meets, or does not meet expectations, and then finally pass, fail. Mine are all going to be percent. And I'm imagining most assessments are going to be scored percent. But if by chance it's exceeds, meets, does not meet, or pass, fail, the results are going to have to be entered as E, M, or D and M. And then when you paste in the E, M, D, and M results, that'll show up here. That'll collate in Excel as high, medium, or low. Same thing with pass, fail. pass will be high, fail will be low. Regardless of how you have these set up, the Excel functions are programmed to convert them into the kind of data we need for improve. Okay, so once you've got all of that data set up about the SLOs that match the outcomes, how they are categorized in improve, and then what the scoring method is, now we're ready to do the easy part, which is to copy and paste student scores for each assessment. Now, one thing to note here is that you want to paste the values. I'll go back to my grade export from Canvas, and I'll start with my homework 3. So I'm going to Control Shift down, select all those results, but remember, these results are a calculation dividing each score by the total possible. So this is not a raw number in Excel, this is a formula result. So when I copy it, Control C, and then go back to the assessment wizard, if I just paste it Control V, it's pasting in the formula that I had in the other spreadsheet. And of course, that formula is going to refer to cells, which in this spreadsheet don't have any relevant data. So that's just going to give me a bunch of errors, and that's gobbledygook that doesn't work. So what we will do instead, go back to the other spreadsheet, I'll just copy it again on my other screen, bring it back, and then here I want to now right click and select Paste Values. And now it brings over the numbers, and then as you'll see, this is kind of the magic of the wizard. The numbers get converted automatically to the range, high, medium, or low, according to kind of standardized thresholds. So you'll see that a 0 gets an L, and an 83 gets an M, and a 94 gets an H, and so on. And Excel can do that very quickly and easily for all of the scores for all of the students. Okay, so now we just do the same thing for all of the assessments. Go back to my Canvas grade export, which is on my other screen. Get my midterm 1 results now. Select that entire range, copy with Control C, come back here, paste special, paste values. Okay, midterm 2 exam. Make sure you copy the entire range of the results in your Canvas export. I do have this set up to where if one of these columns does not include the appropriate number, 143 in my case, we're not going to be validated at the end. So if you have an incomplete here or incomplete in one of these boxes, that tells you there is some error in here. You'll have to check and make sure everything is good. Okay, then finally homework 5. Grab this final set of scores. Again, in my Canvas export, select them all, copy them, come back here, paste the values. Okay, and that's it for me. I only have 4 outcomes, so got everything entered for all 4 of them. And now we're almost done. We go to the summary table over here, and everything is automatic except for one thing, the classification, whether we are at criterion met or not met, or we can put an inconclusive there if you're on the fence. And the reason I can't have Excel classify this for us is because some courses will have different criterion. So for example, here I have 70% high or medium. Now, that I got from Improve, and where I have that in Improve, I put it with the course SLOs. I'll show you kind of the inner workings of the assessment wizard. I have every course here and the SLOs for every course. This is where the wizard actually draws these. So when you type a course name in here, it pulls up the appropriate SLOs. If and when I also have the criteria, some of them I have, and some of them I don't have. If I have them, I will have Excel bring them over and populate this row right here, criterion for success. If I don't, it's up to you to know what they are and then tag or mark the classification here as to whether you're met, not met, or inconclusive. Now, I know mine are 70% at high or medium, so all I really need to do is look at the low result and see if that's greater than 30. And here it's only 12, so I am at 70% at high or medium, so I can click that as met. Here again, I'm at 13. So criterion met. Here I'm at 13 again, met. Criterion met. You'll probably have all the criterions met most of the time. Occasionally you'll have a criterion not met. If and when you do get a criterion not met, I will ask you to type in some notes here, maybe kind of evaluate the assessment, make some notes about how you might make some changes going forward. That's actually pretty important for the closing the loop part of the assessment process, and those notes can get pasted in to Improve with the course results. You can think about making changes, and then people who are evaluating the assessment data can also see that people are using the data to think about making changes and adjustments, and that's really how the whole assessment process is supposed to work. So please do put notes in here if you have an inconclusive or criterion not met for any of the particular outcomes. So once that's all done, and if you needed to enter notes, once that's done as well, then you see this nice little badge pops up telling you you're done. Save the file. I am asking people to use a consistent nomenclature for the file. So I have the course name, semester, and then faculty name. And then you can save it for yourself and upload results into Improve if you are the Improve responsible person, or you can pass it along to your assessment coordinator and he or she can then put the results in Improve. And then we can all not only be in compliance with our assessment requirements, but we can know what we're looking at and use this assessment data to our great advantage in terms of constantly improving our courses. Okay, thank you very much for your willingness to learn how to use this tool. If you have any questions at all, please don't hesitate to email me, wattst3, and I will go from there. And if we need maybe some more like one-on-one training or help, I would be very happy to do so. Thanks again. Hope everybody can use this to improve the assessment reporting process.